this again. I don't want too much light. So welcome, whoever is here. Tonight we have, of course, we always have a lot to talk about, but I want to really go into detail what actually happened this week because something did happen, and I'll go into some detail around what happened so that you can understand, I guess, what may have happened for you. What happened on Wednesday, the 3rd, happened for all of us, but there was also a step that happened for some of us. And again, I've talked about how we're all in different stages of this, raising our frequency, rebirth. So some of us may have had something happen yesterday and some of us may have not, and that's perfectly okay. I want to stress that. Hi, Holly. So what really happened on the 3rd? How many of you felt a shift in energy between, let's say, 3-2 and 3-4 today, or even a shift in the energy yesterday? Hi, Brenda. There was a marketed shift that came in between the 2nd and the 3rd. And if you're energy sensitive, you can feel it, or we're able to feel it. I know many people online are talking about they've been able to feel that there's just a shift into something more, that I'm hearing the word free, the more liberating, more possible, because their higher self is becoming more involved in their day-to-day life, and your higher self totally believes in everything being possible. He or she is not going to try to get you to do something that they don't think you can. So this energy of integration we've moved into. Now, I do believe that there will be a number of dates this month. 3-3 was my date, for sure, 100% was my date. And I'll explain why I know this. But I think that there will be multiple dates this month, including the equinox, as to when these really large shifts can happen for you. And if they don't happen this month, don't worry about it. They're going to happen when they're supposed to. This is a divine timing thing. This is not something you can force to happen. It's going to happen naturally. For 2 days when it passed, it was amazing. It felt like it had cracked open and was reborn. So the energy of 3-3 had rebirth energy entirely. If you were someone who was supposed to be reborn on that day, you would have gotten marching orders. What do I mean by that? You would have been shown some semblance of what your higher self wants you to become. Now, this could be a specific thing, a specific doing, a specific being. It could be different for everyone. All I can talk about is what I was shown. And I had already kind of seen where this was all going for me due to some other things that had happened earlier in the month. And while I'm ready to share with you my experience, I'm not ready to share the details because it is it's very personal to me, and I'm just not ready to do that. But I want you to know some of the signs that have been happening and what really happened or could have happened for you on Wednesday. So for me, I reconnected to, I'm going to get soul family in a dream, and they pretty much called me out for hiding. And I was shown who I'm supposed to become. I had to work through a lot of it because it was very confusing. But if you had a dream that was more vivid between Tuesday and Wednesday night, I hope that you wrote it down because there are giant clues that came in that night about who your higher self wants you to be. And some of us are going to be, I don't want to say forced, to really make some really large leaps into places that you may not have even imagined that you were going to go. And that's what happened to me. And that's why I'm not ready to tell you what it was, because it's so far, not even close to anything I'm doing right now. Now, many of you know that I have my hands in multiple things. I do YouTube, I do podcasting, I do group programs, I'm doing sessions, I do web design. I have my hands in a lot of pots. So the idea that my higher self came through and said, yeah, you're supposed to do that over there, and it wasn't related to any of this. Well, it is in a way, but for the most part, it's not, is what happened to many people on Tuesday. And what happens now is that they told me to give them 3 days to allow it to integrate. So my higher self now, when I muscle test, is fully integrated in my body. Which means in doing so, I have to fully embrace who she is and who she was. And I've gotten a lot of ideas about who she is. And if you're in any of my advanced programs, you know what some of the stuff that's been coming up for me, because it's come up in the belief work and trauma work in those programs and the life calls. It wasn't the intention, but it was coming through. So it's just an add-on to that, but it's much bigger than I can still wrap my head around. But if you had a dream, or even they're saying it's not just a dream, like they're saying a recognition of something outside of you that you haven't done yet, or maybe you thought about doing, you should pay attention to that, because we all are in this rebirth place, but with it comes marching orders, where you're going to go. And I can tell you from my experience that while I have stickies all over my walls for YouTube videos and podcasts, new programs, it's not any of that. And I have no idea how it fits in. So I had hoped to have a YouTube video up this week, and after yesterday, I was told to do some things differently this week, so I haven't done it. But one of them is a meditation that is called The Reflections of the Sacred Pool. And this is the place where I first saw my higher self face to face. And probably the biggest place where I had to really deal with what was holding me back, because I didn't see her. So many people, or even myself, I've seen my higher self in like an angel format, right? Like wings and, all of that. This was not that. This was me seeing her or him as the identity that she wants to be in this lifetime, that she lived in a past lifetime. So it's Egypt, 100% Egypt, which I'm not surprised about at all. But I had to work through that, because your higher self wants you to live in a much higher way than you've been living now. And what that means for each of you is different. And there's nothing wrong. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And divine timing is a funny bird, right? You can't predict when it's going to come. I kind of sensed for the last couple of weeks that 3/3 was going to be a big day for some people. And I know for myself I was. And I know soon I'm going to have to really stick my neck out and go some places that make me nervous, but it's part of my growth. And that is what's happening. So if you got any of that on Tuesday, you're now in an integration process. So the integration will run into the solstice, which may be, like I said, maybe the next iteration of this rebirth process that we're going through. But in these 3 weeks, they really want you to work on what may prevent you from going after those things that you sensed, you feel pulled towards, either that are brand new as of yesterday, or the pull has gotten stronger. Hi, Michelle. Because there's a message in that. With me, I can tell you that my higher self wants me to be somebody that I have never been in my lifetime, and I have never wanted to be. Now, I wrote a book. That's probably the closest thing I can go to saying what this means. I hated English. I hated it. I suck at spelling. But yet, I was told to write a book. And I did it. And it was one of the greatest accomplishments I've had. And this is kind of in that area. This is much bigger. This is not about a doing. This is about a being. So you have to pay attention to those things. Your higher self delivered a message to you yesterday. Now, mine was in a very vivid dream that left me stunned. I'm just going to say stunned, because I woke up going, what the hell was that? I knew it was important, but there were so many different pieces in it that it was hard to figure it all out. But I do finally get it. And at first, it was actually very threatening. The energy of the dream was very threatening. And it was only until I understood what the message was that I understood that it wasn't threatening. So you have to be able to look into the details into your dream and be willing to ask your higher self or your guides or source, whoever, what the hell that means. Because my dream, literally I woke up in the morning like this. I mean, I was stunned. And someday, when I am comfortable with it, I will share what I was shown. And maybe when I understand more about how that's going to happen. But the other thing that I saw vividly, and this are hits that I keep getting, especially at the end of the month, is don't be surprised in a week or so that I don't look like this. And you might think, huh? My higher self has an image that she wants me to become. And that means cutting my hair, maybe coloring my hair, changing my dress, all of that. Because I need to embody who she wants to become. And while I've lived this with the extra long hair, and I don't cut my hair all but once a year, it's just never been something that's important to me. And I'm not like friends with a blow dryer. I hate curling irons. I burn myself more than anything, or I get them stuck in my hair. I'm just not good with mirrors. So this is a whole new thing for me that I can see when I picture her. She looks like me, but yet different. There's an energy of more polishedness I'm hearing. And I know why that is, because it's part of where she's taking me. And in order for me to step into that role, I have to have that professional demeanor I had, maybe not so seriously as I was in corporate America, but in that space. And I haven't been doing that. I work from home, and it's very easy to get lazy on some things. All you see is my top half. I'm better now, but I was definitely through a phase, and she's not necessarily happy about that. So you have to acknowledge those things and be like, okay, because in that dream, not only did I have this really weird thing, not weird, but oh my God moment, I saw myself getting my hair cut. I mean, that's how crazy it is. And it depends. Every higher self is different. Now, again, I'm not sharing who I saw myself as becoming. And if I did, you would understand why she wants me to, say, lose some weight, which I am working on. Actually cut my hair, because it's important as part of that. And there's nothing wrong with it. I said to her, please no makeup, because I have never worn makeup since I was a kid, and I have no desire to do so. My skin would prefer to be clean. And she agreed that was not happening. So at least I have that. I can color my hair and cut it. I'm good. But you have to be open to this, because even though your higher self is you, they're a different version of you. And in order for everything to start moving in the ways that your higher self wants, we have to start living like the two are together. Like you can no longer have your higher self in your ear saying, oh, I want this, this, and this, and then you run in the opposite direction and hope someday you cross paths. We're over that. We're past that. And now we have to start to make this integration piece, which while that happens from a physical standpoint and your higher self can stay within you, there's also a shift in maybe the clothes you like, the colors you like, things that you maybe have worn before and you look at it and go, not now. That's part of it, because that's not who your higher self sees themselves as. So there's this merging that's going on. Now I sense that over the month of March, this is going to be really quick. It's not going to be, you have 6 months and a year to figure out how the two intertwine. Like this is go time. So I already know what my to-do list is, if you will, in order for me to better embody her energy. And one of them is definitely to get my hair cut. Like I dreamed I was getting my hair cut at a salon. What else could that mean? While other things are not literal in my dream, that seems really pretty much literal. So whatever dreams you had, whatever notions you had on Wednesday, maybe there was something that seemed attractive that wasn't before, it was stronger. Pay attention. Those are so, so, so important. And if you can, meditate on them and ask your higher self, is this where I'm supposed to be going? Like, is this what I'm supposed to be going? And here's the hard part. So I now understand what I'm supposed to become. And right away I went into, well, how the hell do I do that? Like, I'm not anywhere near that. Like, how does that happen? Like, what do I have to do to get there? What are the steps? Like, right away. And she just kept saying, stop. She already knows how I'm supposed to get there, even though to me it seems totally nutty. So I have to just trust. And remember, I talked about this journey to the unknown and having to be able to trust Fallen's universe and know that they're going to provide for you in ways that you can't yet understand. And this is where I am. And we all are. Because when I saw that, or maybe some inklings that you're getting about where you're going, immediately we all go into, well, how the hell am I supposed to do that? Like I don't even know how. It's like trying to drive a car with no wheels. That's how I feel right now. Maybe it doesn't even have a steering wheel. But I wanted to put the steering wheel on, and I wanted to put the tires on, and I wanted it to be a specific color and everything else. And she was just like, she already has it all figured out. She already knows how I'm going to get there. And you have to be willing to be open for that process to happen. They told me to give them 3 days before I asked any more questions. So that's where I'm at. So that's till Saturday. And I said, fine, I'll do that. And, there's integration processes that are happening. And I sense that by the end of March, for those of us who got marching orders yesterday, life will be very different. Now, again, how do you think, how does that happen? I don't know. I'm happy to have you all with me and be on this wild ride, the roller coaster to who the hell knows where. But it's an exciting time if you allow yourself to embrace it. We can't go into fear in this. And knowing what came through with me, it's very easy to go into fear. And actually, I got up that morning and I had enough time to try to work through some of it, but I didn't have enough time. And I had to get up because I had clients. And then I went back in that night. And by then, my nervous system had totally tripped out. I couldn't relax. I couldn't do anything because the idea of what was being told in that was totally flipping me out because I didn't feel as though that thing was safe. So I had a lot more work to do after waiting 12 hours. So, Michelle, there are a group of people. I don't think that everyone was supposed to get marching orders yesterday. I think there were certain days this year, they're saying, that different groups of people are being activated. That's what happened to me yesterday. I was activated in this rebirth process. So if you didn't get anything yesterday, it's okay, because that's not your day. And you could muscle test this and say, did I get my marching orders yesterday, or will it come in the future? Because your higher self knows. They may or may not give you a specific date, and I really try to stay away from this because it sometimes sets us up for failure or expectations, and they don't want us to have that. Because you don't know how the message is going to come in. But you can muscle test and say, I kept getting that 3-3 was my D-Day, but it's like my ending when I have a new beginning. So you could muscle test that to see. Now, even if you didn't get any big aha moment yesterday, the energy still shifted into a new paradigm. As we enter March has a very fiery, flowing, quick energy about it. So there was also a collective shift where they're saying move to a higher timeline. So a lot happened yesterday. So even if you didn't get your divine timing moment yesterday, it doesn't mean that it's not coming. It just wasn't your day. See, some of us, this was our day. I sense that in March there may be other days, especially the solstice. Some of us may have had to get our marching orders earlier in order to prepare for solstice. I have no idea. These are things that aren't up to me. And they don't necessarily share with me unless there's a reason for it. So 3-3 is tied to the Christ consciousness as well. So there's a lot of rebirth energy through that. But it's not, when people say Christ consciousness, people automatically think of Jesus. But really, while that is part of energy that's being birthed, it's really the feminine Christed consciousness that is at the forefront of being rebirthed. And then the divine masculine will come in behind that. So to give you an idea, and it's not one or the other, it's both. So if you didn't get anything yesterday, that's fine. But if you did, pay attention, because there could have been a very large clue that came in. And again, you can muscle test. The energy, again, we're in March. So March, it just has that energy of change so fast. I mean, if you think about what happened last year in March, it was like, it just came in like, they say March comes in like a lion. And that's exactly how in 2020, March just rolled in. And I don't sense it's going to be any different this month, but it's not going to be, they're saying, in the same vein as last year. It's a different energy. It's energy of change always, but in a better way somehow. And I always hear it's going to be fast and furious. So hold on tight. Whether you got a directive yesterday or not, it's going to be like this for the collective as well as individual, as just March is. So if you're watching this, I actually ask you to like the video just because it helps me grow the channel. I was looking at the top, which is why I said that. So I'm going to just do current cards for where we are right now. If you happen to listen to my video I put up this week about the actual day, one of the things that came up very strongly was resentment. Resentment to me is beyond fear. People want to talk about fear and anger and all this other stuff. And I think resentment actually is the cause of a lot of that fear and anger. When we hold resentment, we're quick to anger, we're quick to fear. So I know for me, healing resentments have been huge. Physically, for issues I've had, has really helped me, specifically systematic candida. Clearing my resentments have made it go away, and many people tell you once you have it, that's it. That's not the case. So one of the things that they wanted us to work on was using muscle testing. Ask if you're holding resentments, and then ask who you're holding them towards. Now remember, it's not even necessarily who you resent now. It could be people you resented in the past, but yet you still hold the energy of it. For me, it was bosses, coworkers, teachers, family members. So it was very, very freeing once I was able to let that stuff go. But if you don't hold resentment, then you have your heart is more open to be able to see a different perspective, they're saying. To be able to see beyond that point that you have. What happens with resentment, people are very focused on getting one thing or seeing one thing because they want proof. So when you have a resentment, it's hard for you to see the full picture and see what's going on around you. I do think a lot of what we have in this country or even world right now has a lot to do with resentment. So we're going to do cards for right now. Before I was setting up for this, my ears were ringing bad. And I said, what's going on? They're like, we're preparing. Okay. What? Okay, I have a new way of doing this tonight. So how have you guys been? Yeah, it's a lot of, I think the solar winds have still been really active, which of course brings all kinds of changes, very quick changes. I notice when it's windy, I also have a lot of, it's just the energy moving. We seem to get the same cards. Okay, I guess that makes sense. What about clearing resentment, Brenda? Do you mean like how? Yes. If you I was gonna say they'll get through, but they said we already know who missed the message. I'll wake up in the morning and be like, it'd be really nice if I could remember what the hell I just dreamed about. It seemed important, but it didn't. And usually what happens is there will be trigger points during the day that will trigger a memory from the dream. Or there will be something that attracts me that then makes me remember what I dreamed. So no, you don't miss it. Awesome, Brenda. If you missed it, you didn't miss the bus, you didn't miss the train. Your higher self is on a mission, she's saying. They're saying, because this is what you signed up to do in this second or, third of your life, to be in that next stage or next leap. They're not going to just be like, oh, she didn't get it, so she wasn't paying attention. Like, they know. If you're somebody who has these dreams that things were happening, if you start to, they say just get up in the morning and write whatever you can remember, even if it's nonsense, because you tell your subconscious that you want to know or you want to remember more of what was in that dream. And as you do those exercises, you'll start to get more and more. Now, I think the thing that some people do, including myself, is I expect a lucid dream every night, and it doesn't happen. And you just need to know, you got to trust that when you're supposed to lucid dream, you will, and they will figure out ways to communicate with you. So in the beginning, when I was doing this, I would hear words in my dreams like, you have to remember this, remember this, remember this, remember this, remember this. And eventually, I don't have to know, I just know. And it's muscle that we have to learn how to use. So, but if you missed it, don't worry about it. You can ask your higher self to replay that again. Just because you missed it on 3-3 doesn't mean you can't see it again. You could do that in meditation. You could ask her to show you in another way. And they'll do it. So you don't worry if you missed it. I wish I had, these are those times when I wish they would give me a little more detail so that I could prepare you guys so that you would pay attention to what you dreamed that night, and maybe be more dedicated to it on Wednesday morning than you would normally. But they didn't give me that, so. I will say that the next date to pay attention is probably the solstice. Let's see. Ears are ringing a lot, and I feel like I'm hearing things. So if you think that your clairaudience is starting to awaken, pay attention. Not only pay attention, but say thank you. You may not be able to make it out yet, but by you just having gratitude for it, one, you acknowledge the fact that it's happening, and your guides or whoever's trying to talk to you then knows that you can hear them. And then two, in gratitude, you just allow it to flow. There's no pressure. There's no forcing, which you cannot do with psychic senses. Psychic senses cannot be forced open. I know there's a lot of classes around them, and practice makes perfect, which is great. But I know a lot of people try to focus, and I'm like, that's the hard way. I mean, if you have a limiting belief or trauma around a psychic sense you're trying to open, it could be next to impossible until you work on what the block is. And I talk about this all the time, but when I first started this, I could see nothing. Close my eyes, see nothing. And now I have vivid dreams and meditations. You asked me that, if I could do that 7 years ago, I would have laughed at you. Oh, God. Right, surrender. No pushing, right? The more you push, the harder it is for your psychic senses to open. I think that's what I was getting at. The more you let go of the need to open your psychic senses, or better yet, have a specific idea of what a psychic sense would look like. So there's a lot of misconceptions out there about what a psychic sense is, and we all have different degrees of them, different ways of doing them, and they're all semblances of that. But there's a lot of, through my client work anyways, where my clients seem to think that clairaudience or clairvoyance is only one thing when it's not. Okay. Yeah, it's an allowing process. And it's trusting it. We are analytical creatures. So we get something and we think, oh, well, what does that mean? Or you think that can't be true. So then you circumvent the process, and in that you slow it down. But through my experience, I mean, I never worked on being clairvoyant. It just happened because I let go needing to have it. And in that, spirit just comes through. And that's how the psychic senses develop. Clairaudience I've always had since I was a kid, but I was raised Roman Catholic. We didn't talk about this, and I didn't know I was clairaudient until I was in my 30s, or even what it was. I had no idea even what it was. But all of my other psychic senses have developed just because I'm allowing. I'm not trying to put a psychic sense in a nice fancy box, and if it doesn't look exactly like this, I don't honor whatever version of the psychic sense I get. It's like when you were a child, no one taught you how to crawl or walk. It was something you just did because it's innate in who you are. That's how psychic senses are. The code turns on and it just happens. Okay, so we got this card. I know we got it last week, so this means we are in this energy now. Coming to life. Exciting times. Exciting times. Let's see. When you look at your life, can you see, my goodness, how do you guys even hear me? Well, hopefully it's not too bad. My microphone's like on the other side of the room, so let me fix that. So I apologize if it's been echoey. Okay, so when you look at your life, can you see how you've grown and evolved over time? Perhaps you shed skins and identities and created new ones, or at the very least matured in your ideas about yourself and the world you inhabit. You know things take time, and Spirit's timetable is rarely in sync with your own. This card indicates a long-held dream is beginning to show signs of life. You must try not to coax it along or shape it according to your desires. Spirit knows the best form for the manifestation of this dream, and your life can become even better than you could possibly imagine. Now is the time for reverence and awe. Allow the contours of your path to be carved by the hands of the divine. All you have to do is show up. I'm sure you could hear me because you've been interacting with me. I know when the microphone's farther away, it can be more echoey, so I moved it. But it's very sensitive. I was recording earlier and someone was chopping wood with a chainsaw and it picked up all of that. So this card is what I was talking about before. Like if you got anything that came through, the path to get there has already been paved, if you will. You just have to be willing to align to it, and it will just happen on its own. They're saying some of you may not have your psychic senses to a place where you could even receive a message. And they're saying that we will still find a way. But here's a key. You have to say, because remember you have free will, that you're ready to receive and be open to how this new iteration of yourself is going to blossom. You have to verbal permission either in your head or out loud. And then your higher self, source, your unseen friends can really start to allow that stuff to start to materialize in your life. So if you're not great at clairvoyance yet or great at clairaudience, that you're not limited by that. It's still going to happen, even if you don't see, hear, know, see, sense, smell, whatever it is. This is what you signed up for to be. So once you make that verbal commitment, because again, you have free will, it's going to just happen. And if you had a dream, let's say on Tuesday night, and you don't remember it, if you make that declaration to yourself, it will just start to unfold. And then at some point you'll be like, what's happening? And it's just a recognition. So while I would have loved to tell you to pay attention to your dreams at night, if you missed it, don't worry about it. If you are supposed to start integrating into your higher self as of yesterday, know that process is going to happen regardless, because it's the soul contract you signed up for. But doing the declaration makes it easier because you don't have any resistance to it. Now, I can say that it probably is harder to make a declaration for something that you don't even know what you're asking for, right? But it will help. And you can say something like, I'm ready for this. Can you start to show me small signs so I know where the hell I'm going? And then let them give you insights into that and however the universe communicates with you. Yeah, so I'll talk about earthquakes in a moment. I meant to check on that. Damn it. Okay, so there's what I was going to say. So while I've been focusing on 3-3, don't get hung up on that. If you missed the message and it was supposed to be your day, your divine timing day, then it's still going to happen. Like I said, some of us were yesterday and some I think will come in the next month or so. It's whatever your soul signed you up for. So yes, there's been, I think, two earthquakes and I think a volcano. And they're all in what they call the Ring of Fire, which is in the Pacific Ocean. I want to say one was in like Indonesia or somewhere around there, but I know there was a big one in New Zealand this morning. And I don't know if it triggered a tsunami or not. Last time when I was reading about it, it had just happened. Like people were posting on Facebook like 19 minutes and something like that. And so they had issued tsunami warning, but I never went back and checked, so I don't know. 8.1. I knew it had to be high because people were saying that it went on forever. And they kept saying it was, if you felt long and strong, they needed you to go to high ground because they really did think there was going to be a tsunami. And I don't, again, know if that happened. But I know in last week's reading, there was a sense that Mother Earth was going to start to rumble a bit. I'm hearing she's releasing pressure. Everything that happens on Mother Earth, she embodies it within her. The anger, the fear, the love, the joy, the bliss, all of it. And even her, she needs a release. And volcanoes, earthquakes do that. The other thing is that we know, in original ancient Egypt times, the continents were probably not in the same place. Actually, they weren't in the same place as they are now. So the earth is ever changing just like we are. But I do know that last week there was a sense that Mother Earth would have some stuff to say. I think there was a volcano that erupted over the weekend as well. And it was a surprise thing. Like they didn't expect it to erupt. And they're afraid that the lava cone was going to also erupt. I believe that happened on... so there's been 3. So I knew the New Zealand one. I don't know where Tonga is. Ohana, Tonga. I have no idea where that is. And then yesterday in Greece. So it's just more evidence of that change that we're in. So we're changing, but Mother Earth is changing into this new iteration of herself. She's forever changing. It's not like she changes. It's not like she changes only in small leaps. She's constantly changing. But I didn't realize there were 3. And like I said, I think there was a volcano on the weekend. What? Yeah, I tried to fix my YouTube channel so the current live should show up at the top, so that you don't have to dig through all the other videos. I guess that hasn't worked because I have at least 2 people have said that they were watching the wrong one. And I forgot to put the date in front of it. I'm sorry. YouTube was giving me a hard time just scheduling this. 17,000 earthquakes hit Iceland in the past week. It could be different based on people's setup of YouTube of what they can see. So I really can't help you with that. But yeah, that's a lot of earthquakes. So we got 2. Is that Ohana Tonga in the Ring of Fire? Do you know what I mean by that? Greece is not, but I know that they're also on a fault line. They're saying that will continue. Was there an earthquake in Utah? I don't know why I'm getting that. Anyways, was there an earthquake in Utah? I'm not sure. But they're saying that Mother Earth will continue to stay volatile. This is part of the March energy as we move towards the solstice. Okay, so we see this all the time. Spirit of life, the Quan Yin energy. At least she looks like Quan Yin to me. Divine feminine, but it was upside down. Don't get entangled in details or desires that obscure the truth of your situation. Step back and ask yourself, what is the real nature of my inquiry? Even exquisitely seductive hidden agendas cannot conceal this. Trust your intuition. The spirit of place is whispering in your ear. You hold the power to tell the truth, first to yourself and then to the world. You can always distinguish between an essence that is true and one that is synthetic. Be honest with yourself and remain willing to let your situation be revealed for what it really is and not what you want it to be. An apple can't become an orange, just as a dog can never be a bird. Are you trying to change someone or something to suit your agenda? Only when you see things as they truly are will you find the real treasure. Yeah, so Ring of Fire is that South Pacific area. I know New Zealand's part of that. So yeah, this card is, it goes in relation to the other card about how, as we're moving into this really journey to the unknown, there's still this idea that we want to know, one, where we're going, but like we want things to be a certain way before we'll leap. And, this is why we've been going through months of this letting go energy, of letting go of the emotional attachment to things so we could get to this point and be like, yes, let's go. But they're saying there's still people hanging on to things, hoping that they can bring them with them in this next iteration. And I know that was one of the things that came up with me yesterday. I was like, well, if I do this, then what happens to my family or what happens to whatever? And I got right away that they're coming with you. Their higher self already know what is coming for me. And that helped. But they're saying that there is still things holding us back with the emotional attachment to things and having to let go. I know for some of us, including myself, my life is going to change in ways I can't even imagine right now. And that change is scary, especially when it's not change you planned out. Like, if you move from here to another town, you plan it, right? You buy the house, you rent a space, you decide what town you're going to move to and why. We're being asked to like throw that out the window, and your higher self is doing it for you. And you're just being asked to trust that wherever the hell you're going is the right place. And that's freaking hard. I knew there was a volcano. Again, Indonesia is in the Ring of Fire. Now, Greece, I said, is not, but I know Greece has a history of earthquakes. So a lot of earth activity. They're saying you must let go and let God. Who you are to become is beyond what you can even imagine. And by your needing to control the situation, you will limit what you can become. And that's not what your higher self wants for you. He or she wants to live a life that you were truly made for and really be blessed in a way that the universe always meant you to be so. So if you catch yourself in these moments where you feel like, I can't do that because I haven't done this, or I'm not ready for that, really ask yourself, why? Because these divine timing days, which I'll call these, you're not going to know when those are. They're just going to happen. And this is why it's so important. They've been talking about letting go emotionally, because they want us to leap when the next train appears. They want us to be standing at the station waiting for that train with as little luggage as we can get ourselves to, so we can get on the train and not be worried about what we left behind, what we didn't finish, what we didn't say. So you just get on and you clean go. And they're saying many of you are in the parking lot in the train station and your car still has luggage in it, but you can't take it with you. And I know myself that I'm still working through this. Like I said, when I was shown this yesterday, I definitely had some stuff to let go of that I didn't know I had until I realized what I was being shown. Located in the Ring of Fire, an arc of volcanoes and fault lines encircling Pacific Ocean. Yes, that's the Ring of Fire. And the Ring of Fire is where they believe Lemuria was, I think. If I got this right, I think Lemuria was in the Pacific Ocean in that Ring of Fire place, and Atlantis was actually in the Atlantic Ocean, which I guess makes sense from naming, right? Maybe that's how I should remember that. This last card, I never like to see, but it is what it is. This is goblins, and it was upside down. Goblins are somebody's in your ear who's trying to get you not to believe in yourself, not for you to trust what's happening, for you to be afraid of it, in order to serve their agenda. So, and they're saying well-meaning friends and family will do this. You'll tell them what you want to do, and they'll tell you, oh, but you can't do that. That's their fear, and that's their limitation, not yours. And then they're saying, don't let them stop you. They're actually telling many of us to not share yet where we're going, because they're saying some of us are being asked to do big things. And if we were to get that type of feedback now, we wouldn't be open to the path. We would limit it. And they don't want us to do that. We all know people who, when you tell them things, they go, you're out of your mind. How are you going to do that? You can't do that because of this rule or whatever. And you can't let them get in your head. That's pretty much what goblins are. It's often difficult to deal with someone else's issues because they impact your own. No one is perfect, but in this case, you're particularly vulnerable to being manipulated. Don't take this world personally. When the goblin cards arise reversed, it's a sign to step back with detachment. Don't let other people's stuff lead you into reacting from an old wound. Love yourself unconditionally, set boundaries, and your goblins will fall asleep. Love is the only answer. Even though we went through this shift on 3-3, there's still energy out there that is wobbly at best. If people aren't awake or they're not, I don't like to use the word awake because it means that there's separation. I really don't like that word, but aware of this world, they're still going through this. And their higher self is still very much in play. But you will find that some of those people are the goblins because, not intentionally, but because they're going through all this change, and change makes them afraid. It may be triggering things in them that they don't want to see in themselves or admit within themselves, and they will seek people out in order to make them feel safe or make them feel like that things aren't happening that's around them, and they can be goblins. And you need to be honest with yourself. When someone says something to you, you have to be honest on whether it feels true or not to you. Just because they say it's true doesn't mean it's true. And if you're confused and you don't know how to assimilate that, you can muscle test. Is that true? And whatever answer you get is your truth. And it doesn't have to be what the other person's truth is. We get so built up around sharing our truth and making sure that people accept our truth, but it doesn't always work that way. We have people who, let's use food as an example, who might say that, like, I'm allergic to strawberries, and, strawberries can cause whatever, but that's their truth. Doesn't mean that when you eat a strawberry, you're going to have the same reaction. And it's okay. You just got to respect their choice and be honest with yourself and do what's right for you. So, and that is where we are now. So where are we going? Where are we going? So we're going out 3 weeks. So this makes just around the solstice. Okay. I know I saw your thing about resentment, Brenda, and I never went back to it. There were so many comments, I just was lost. But if you're working on resentments, that's awesome, because it really is one of the best ways to really free yourself from old patterning that isn't working anymore. Just allowing you to feel freer, more, they're saying more able, more willing, more joy and more bliss. The more resentments you clear, the more space you make room for abundance and success and joy and bliss. Resentment really is like they're showing me like this black cloud of ick, and it just fills your physical body and your auric field, and then you don't have as much space to feel those other emotions that really is what you came here for, right? You didn't come here to be resentful. And you'll notice as you work through the resentments, you'll be triggered less. You'll have less anger towards things. Things won't bother you like they used to. It's such a freedom if you allow yourself to work through resentment. Oh, and they're saying, and to make sure that when you do resentment work, that you make sure you don't resent yourself. And many people, including myself, worked on resentments and still struggled. And I realized it was because I resented myself for regrets, mistakes, choices, whatever it is, getting myself in situations. So when you do the resentment work, make sure you're also working to clear any resentments you have towards yourself. A lot of times when we resent ourselves, we'll manifest more things to be resentful for, because that's the energy that we're embodying. No one wants that. You're welcome, Brenda. I hadn't forgotten. It just, like I said, multiple people had posted, and I was talking, and I kept hearing you have to go back to the resentment piece. So there you go. Oh, I love when I get new cards. Love it. Especially when they're really cool cards. There is an element of, I don't want to say it's retraction, but kind of. Okay. I just can't win with that card. I just can't. We just can't get rid of it. Anyways, maybe we don't need to get rid of it. But, and this is, so this is the solstice energy, and we still have the Spirit of Place card, but it was not upside down this time. It's just more divine feminine energy, and I'm going to show you why so in a minute. So this wasn't upside down. Our ancient ancestors believed that every place has a spirit looking after it, guarding it. Just as we have a soul, the plants, trees, birds, mountains, and rivers have their own essences. When the Spirit of Place arrives in your reading, it says that the answer to your query is the overarching theme of your circumstances. Here's your question about struggle. The answer is to relax and let go of your need to control the situation. I don't like how this one is. It's like a zillion questions, but let's see. Maybe I'm supposed to channel Quan Yin. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to let her through in a minute. I'm going to show you these two cards. So these are the other two cards for the solstice. This is Solitude with the Lighthouse, and this is Peaks of Joy on the other card, which is exciting, right? For me, the Solitude card is this, they're saying, I don't know how to describe what they're saying, an incubation period around the solstice that we each have to individually go through. They're saying some of you may feel the need to retract yourself and be by yourself for a period of time and feel like you have to really dig deep into self-care. And they're saying, if you get that inkling, to follow it, because this integration process that we're going through, we have never done before. It has never been done where your higher self birthed into a live physical vessel. This has happened only through physical death before. So there's things happening in your body, in your astral field, in your mental field that have to change in order for you to fully integrate your higher self. And they're saying, if you feel the need to be by yourself, follow it. It's okay to reach out and ask people, or, have you experienced this and you just want to get some points? But they're saying rest and care is going to be really important around the solstice. And then the Peaks of Joy, that's exciting. I'll read that in a minute. But when I put these up before, I don't normally pay attention to the numbers that are on cards, but these two cards Solitude is 13, and peaks of joy is 33. Now 33, anything with threes, which you basically got 3 threes out of this card, is Christ consciousness. 13 is the divine feminine. And then the last card I get is this, which just screams to me divine feminine and Quan Yin. So I am going to channel her in a moment. So in the solstice, there's this energy of more Christ consciousness energy, more divine feminine energy. They're saying it will increase tenfold over the next however many days there are between now and the solstice. So if you find yourself needing to retreat, needing to take a day off from the world, do it. Your body needs it. If you need to sleep more, take a nap. This is not the time to try to override this. There is no playbook that you can go and read and someone's going to tell you exactly what to expect. It doesn't exist, and how it's going to happen for you is entirely different than it would be anyone else. And they're just asking us to honor this process. So peaks of joy, before I channel Quan Yin. Joy is yours today. No matter what your inquiry, you'll be happy with results. You're coming closer to a sense of achievement, and you've worked hard for it. You're surrounded by true companions and events that are synchronistically arranged to bring you the next level of your life. The world is singing a beautiful harmony. Life is exhilarating and hopeful. Let gratitude fill your hearts, and remember to share your happiness. Joy is contagious. This is the solstice energy. Mark contrast between this and last March. An entirely different animal. And the solitude card is just allowing ourselves to have the time and not be about taking the time to just be by ourselves, sit in meditation, listen what your higher self wants you to do. What, if any, are inspired steps he or she wants you to take so that you can start to open this door to the solstice energy as it builds in. Really cool cards. So I'm going to channel Quan Yin because, am I wrong? Does that not look like Quan Yin? So you were, I'm assuming, married on the just around the solstice then, which is pretty cool. Okay, Quan Yin. She comes in like a lion, like a raging bull. She said to me, "Finally, you let me through. How many times do I have to show up in your spread? And you say I look like Quan Yin. Do you think that's a coincidence?" Quan Yin says, you need to start listening to your own heart over others, your own intuition over others. Where others are going are not necessarily your path and may well be a distraction away from the truth of what you are becoming. Nobody knows what you're becoming but besides you. And no one can tell you you're right or wrong. They do not know the truth of who you are and you are yet to become. So don't let other people rain on your parade. There are many out there who would be willing parties to that, to make you feel like you don't matter. But who you're becoming isn't real and isn't possible. And in that, you drive away your intuitive gifts, and it gets harder for you to understand who you're to become. Your higher self wants to give you a clear image of what are you to become. But you must learn to trust what you receive. In all honesty, you should just keep it to yourself for now. Telling others isn't in your best interest, as others are wrapped in their own stuff and can't see through their own fog. They sure as hell won't be able to see through yours. I ask that you honor yourself. Honor how far you've come. While there's much focus on what you're becoming, right now in this right moment, I just want you to take note and be grateful for how far you've come. So many of you are focused on the end result of this great time you live in, excited for the idea of what happens after it. And I don't want you to miss the beauty and the grace that happens along the way. You look back 5 years, 2 years, 1 year. How different are you? How far have you already come? And yes, you're in exciting times. And me and many of the other gods and goddesses, ancestors are cheering you on from the other side. There's magic all around you already. Miracles happen every day. Are you paying attention? Because we are. And we want you to be able to experience the joy and bliss in a moment, no matter what is happening around you, no matter where you are in your path, no matter whether your divine timing has arrived or not. There's still magic around you. There's peace around you too. But you can only see it if you allow yourself to see it. And you don't see it through someone else's eyes. You need to see it through your own. And only in that, you understand the gifts that surround you. It's okay to feel out where others are as a barometer, but you must always use discernment to make sure that the path that they're on is right for you. There's no judgment. Everyone is exactly where they're supposed to be based on the lessons that their higher self and soul wanted to learn in this lifetime. So I want you to turn the spotlight on yourself. Pay attention to where you are, how far you've come, what has shifted, how do you see the world differently, how do you feel about the world now than what you did a year or two ago? Do you feel like you have more control? Do you believe in miracles more? Do you believe in the impossible more? Do you believe that magic surrounds you? And none of those answers matter to anyone but you. They are who you were made to be. No one can paint that picture but you. And I want you to take the energy back that you spend on trying to adjust the world around you from the outside circumstances in order to change your inside circumstances, and instead turn the light on inside. Remove the dead wood from the fire that prevents your light from burning brighter. And allow yourself to place new logs, new dreams, new beliefs, gratitude for the magic and miracles that happen around you, and let that fire grow until it permeates every single cell of your body. You magnetically attract everything your heart desires. It's all there waiting for you. Some of it is already there around you, you just don't see it. The only way you'll see it is if you're willing to turn and look yourself in the mirror. And either allow yourself to see what's already there or work through why you can't. And in that, you will find the answer you seek. And all of your unseen friends, including myself, if you want to call me in, can help you shift yourself so that you can better align with this. It's in your power to do so. All you have to do is ask. Very cool, Elaine. Obviously, I had my eyes closed, so I didn't see all this. Magic is definitely happening. Yeah, it's all magic. Everything is magic. The biggest thing I remember as a kid, and it's one of the biggest things that I think some of us in this world have to get over, is I would always hear, "Oh, it's just your imagination," meaning it's not real. But your imagination is the first spark of anything you create. It's created in that spark of imagination. So from a small child, you were told that your imagination didn't matter. And when you work through that block, you really start to see how much magic is really around you. It's only in the blocks that we were told when we were a child, or maybe inherited, around your imagination not being real, or that magic is trickster energy, right? We've all watched magicians on the TV, right? David Copperfield, and others. I'm not coming up with any other names. I'm sure there's many. And we were told, oh, it's sleight of hand, or they're using props, so it's not real. But in that, you lose the truth of it. Imagination is real. Henry Ford imagined the car, or at least the semblance of the car from that time, in his head before it manifested in the physical reality. Magic is real. And I do believe that some of the magicians, especially of today, are actually using real magic. Because some of this stuff just seems to me impossible without it. I think there are some that are actually manipulating time. I think some are actually manipulating matter. And because we've been so trained to think that it's just trickster, we can't see the possibility in it really being true magic. And in that, we lose our own ability to recognize the magic that's inside of us, and the magic that wants to birth through us. Exactly, Elaine. Exactly, Denise. And exactly, all these mistruths, especially from childhood, where we're set up to block some really great things that happen inside of us, like imagination and magic. And I know a lot of children have, or maybe you had, imaginary friends. And the more I do this work, I believe they actually weren't imaginary. I think those kids can actually see maybe ghosts, ancestors, spirits. Maybe they had dragon friends that were visiting them. And when we tell them that it's all in their head, or if we make fun of it, we tarnish their ability to develop whatever gift they have and their ability to see these imaginary friends. Now, I do know that there are circumstances where kids will recreate that out of safety, and it isn't necessarily an imaginary friend, but I think we need to be careful that we're not shutting down kids' abilities because we ourselves don't believe in imaginary friends. In essence, you could think of angels and guides as imaginary friends. To those that can't see them or sense them, they are. That doesn't make them not real to you, right? Okay, so I got this. I don't normally use this deck. I do love this deck. But he asked for me to deal cards, so I'm going to. This is the Archangel Metatron deck by Amanda Ellis. I do use these cards. I do like them. I just haven't been called to use them, but he was adamant today. And here's the thing about this. I lost the book. So I was hesitant to use these. And he just said to me, he goes, I'll just channel them. I was like, oh, okay. So we're going to get some messaging from Metatron. And then we'll see where we go from there. I may have to use the bathroom and be back. I think that is going to happen in a moment. Because I definitely can't hold it any longer. So I know Elaine likes her Metatron. Interesting. Man. I love these cards. They're very simple and to the point. The book is beautifully done. The pictures are beautifully done. I honestly wouldn't expect any less from Amanda. Her sprays are quality. Her work is quality. I just love her. And I do work with these cards mostly for myself. But he was adamant that I use these cards tonight. And he is a guy that I work with quite often, so. Okay. So, they told me not to, so I won't say that. Fine, I won't. I know that some of you were posting in the group about when my next podcast is coming. It was on the schedule for this week, but they've changed my schedule since the 3/3 date. I have 2 main focuses. I'm on that, and then it will probably come beyond that. So one of the things that I'm doing is that I'm redoing the Free Your Soul Story program, and I'm breaking it down. So Free Your Inner Child Story I'm working on now. I'm redoing the entire thing. If you were one of the ones who took the course back in August, you're going to get access to the new course so that you can work through the new format. They're brand new meditations. Through my work in the course that I'm just finishing up now, I've learned to just open the channel, and the archangels, gods and goddesses are actually teaching through me, and I'm just the channel. So for the last program, it was Goddess Mott and Jesus pretty much. I think there was Metatron did come through once. And this inner child program is being run through or via Mother Mary. I love her sprays. I have at least 10. I will be getting more soon. I actually have 2 sitting right here. I have Fire and Archangel Metatrons right here. So these are the sprays that I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Amanda Ellis has these sprays. This is Archangel Metatron one. And the other one I have here is the Fire Element. And maybe I'll spray the Metatron one. I love these sprays. The Third Eye one I have, it helped me so much to clear so much. I actually had a dream. God, like 2 or 3 years ago, to buy these. So that's the deal with that. I'm going to use the bathroom really quick. I'll be right back. And then I will share these messages with you all. Pretty cool cards. Sorry about that. I was no way I was gonna be able to wait. Just no way. Yeah, I have the third eye one. I do not have the left one. I have the heart one. I don't remember them all. I have one with dreaming, which I bought for my nephew, and he never used it. It was to protect, to keep it's for kids. It's to help them deal with nightmares. I have that one. I use it from time to time. I can't remember. I have quite a few. I do love them. Cool. She's got so many, right? And they're not, to me, they're not expensive. It's just that, they come from the UK, so shipping's interesting. I have said before that I think we all should do a bulk order, but someday. So the first card is gold. And this is actually a very interesting thing because in my class, gold is something we've been working on. This is cup of replenishment. Now, you can't really, well, maybe you can. There's a infinity sign here. We have a heart and the gold. And to me, no, he wants me to channel, so I'm not going to do this. Yeah, because I would assume the shipping would be cheaper if we did a bulk order versus each of us shipping from the UK. We'd have to look at that. I don't know if it's by weight or something like that. But if that's the case, I think it would be great. Okay, so let me get Metatron on the horn. Metatron is saying, your cup of replenishment is coming, filled with the abundance that you so desire. To allow yourself to have the freedom that your soul desires. Be able to do what you want when you want. To be able to have what you need and want when you want. Without having to think about what if I don't have enough? But first, before you receive that cup, I need you to fill your own cup. I need you to fill yourself with the self-care that your soul so desires in this moment. But I also need you to fill your cup with positive thoughts, positive emotions, positive hope. Believe in the positive change. Allow yourself to feel the possibility of change within your body. Allow yourself to just soak it all in. As your body changes, as the way you look or your persona changes, as your higher self integrates deeper, you're going to be asked to shake up your thinking. Allow yourself the time for your thinking to evolve. Your higher self doesn't dwell in fear, doesn't dwell in anger or sadness. It might come there, but it doesn't stay there very long. Your higher self is asking you to shift your focus so you can fill your own cup with peace, happiness, and bliss. It's not about looking away from the things that are happening in your world. It's important that you pay attention. But for those that are involved in that, they have already received their marching orders. And it's not up to you to change it. I need you to focus on you. Your cup of replenishment will come when you allow yourself to fully align with who you really are. And your higher self is asking you to fill it first. He or she is not going to show up tomorrow and fill your cup when you've been allowing yourself to sink into the energy of resentment, anger, fear, anxiety, jealousy. In those emotions, your cup is empty. And your higher self is not going to be the first person to put anything in it. You need to meet them halfway. You have to show that you care for your body. You have to show that you care for your mental state. You show that you care for your spiritual state, however that works for you. There's not one way that works for everyone, and that's okay. But you must do it. You must make it a requirement. And as you fill your own cup of replenishment, your higher self will match it with something equal or better. Remember, as you move into these times, when you rebirth your higher self into physical being, they're not taking over. They're merging with you. They're becoming one with you. Like a scale, your higher self is on one side and you on the other. In order for you to come into true integration, the two of you need to meld together. Your higher self doesn't do all the work. You must do it as well. As you prepare your temple, your physical body, for this beautiful process that you have come onto earth to experience in this lifetime. It's very much a gift. Many souls clamored to be here now, and they still do. But you got in. Your higher self and I are asking you to fill your own cup. Your to-do list will wait. You must make yourself a priority. As this process you go through may challenge you in ways. And the best way to release the challenge is for you to take care of yourself. And in that, the challenge will disappear. There's a new life coming for you all, where this cup will overflow. And you'll think back to these days and think, wow, life has changed in ways I could never imagine. Before you get there, I ask that you take care of your own physical and spiritual space. Prepare yourself for this time. I know, Eileen, I know. Oh no, replenishing reminds me of Kabbalah. Of course you know about the goal from the class. Yes. So if that's something, maybe I'll post it. Maybe I'll post it in a group. If anybody's interested in putting an order in, and see if that will on shipping, which is really what it would do, right? And then maybe we'll do that for whoever is interested in doing that. And we can figure out how to do it. Okay, the next card, I thought we dealt with this energy last week, but obviously not. This is ancestors, appreciation and healing. Some point last week, I did a video on ancestral healing. It's about 30-40 minutes. And at the end, there was one of my ancestors that came through with like a plea for us to do this work. So if you have a chance, listen to that. It was very, I was crying like a baby because there was such an incessant need from this ancestor of mine, a call, if you will, for us to help them help us. Okay. So that's on the YouTube channel. Ancestral healing. I know many of you don't want to look in the past. You want to just get on with the future. But the patterns of the past have a history repeating themselves over and over and over again. We don't want that for you anymore. We want you all to be able to start over on a new path forward where these patterns don't have to be repeated over and over again. And the same people aren't reincarnated over and over again, having the same battles, just in different timelines. You know that's happening now, right? The people that you find in your country battling each other, the same people that battled each other 200, 2,000, 5,000 years ago. You just keep reincarnating with the same people, with the same circumstances. You just keep rolling the same carousel over and over and over again. In this life, you get the chance to change that. Stop the flow and tide so you can reincarnate in a lifetime with different people, different circumstances, more positive circumstances, more aligned with the truth of who you are instead of the suffering you have become. And while you have a hand in that, so do your ancestors. Some of you are not only repeating the patterns of your own past lives, you're repeating the patterns of your ancestors. As you inherit that through your DNA. So the assaults that you have experienced in past lives have been compounded by your ancestral's trauma. And they are impacting each other and weaving themselves together, which is causing worse and worse circumstances or events to happen on your planet. Just simply going forward like this, you just add another line on the tree trunk. And you just repeat it again and again and again with your ancestors' trauma layered over it. This work isn't hard. All you have to do is be willing to do it. Your ancestors just want a channel where they can ask for forgiveness, release the trauma from their ancestral line, not only so that they can reincarnate in different times with new people and new experiences, but so that their and your family don't have to suffer the same fate. No, not all your ancestors are ready to do the work, but know that there are enough ancestors now who want to do the work that it can change the future. Where we can stop repeating the same lessons over and over and over again. You have a saying, something about doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It's a definition of insanity. And in essence, that's what you're creating. We want you to be able to make this quantum leap from this old, lower frequency energies to these higher frequency energies. And that's a new start, which means you can't bring the trauma from the past in. It's like lead weights. The learning's already been done. You learn more when you forgive and let go about how to adjust your past so that no longer happens. You're able to make new and different decisions that then create new timelines of expansion, experience, discovery, creativity, play, and abundance. Don't you want that? Many of you focus on your children or grandchildren, hoping that their world will be better than yours. And it will be. Do you know what would make it better? If you drew the line in the sand and said, I'm the last person that has to experience this BS from an ancestor or past life, and I will no longer carry it forward. Some of you have been assigned to be midways. What I mean by this, to be the person that helps other people's ancestors as a channel for them to get the messages through and the healing to happen. You may already know that you are. Today, I really want to talk to those who want to help future generations. Help themselves, really. Your soul will choose to reincarnate someday. Do you want the world to be better? You can do that. You have the power and strength within you to do that. But it can't happen unless you open the doorway to do so. Okay. Good night, Michelle. Ancestors, big deal. There's this, I mean, I've always worked with ancestors, but there seems to be this renewed urgency with them to work through some stuff so that we don't have to live this same crap over and over again. And this is the last card. This is Dimensional Gateway, Initiation. I think all of March is initiation. I just heard yet. So a lot of times we talk about dimensional gateways on like 3344, 311, those numbers. But I very much get that because the solstice energy is in March, that the whole month is a gateway, an invitation. And it could be true of every March, but I haven't been doing this all but a year, so I'm not sure. But I definitely get that energy for this March, which means it's not just one day. It's the whole month where we're being given a long runway so that we can prepare and make a conscious choice to go through. Many of us go through these dimensional gateways when we sleep, and then we don't remember that we do. Like for 3-3, I woke up, I was like, did I go through the portal? They're like, yeah, during your sleep. I didn't remember I did. So, Metatron. You're being invited to answer your higher calling. Many of you, the phone's ringing, the alarm clock's going off. I'm asking you to answer it. Be open to the gift of what it is. I understand it can be scary. You don't know what that phone call or that alarm clock is going to bring you to. But I want you to know that you're safe, that legions of angels surround you. Your higher self has prepared you for this. And the time for you to step into this dimensional gateway has come. In order for you to step through this gateway, you need to trust that on the other side is a life better than the one you have now. That's full of growth and expansion, that brings you more bliss, joy, and freedom and abundance than you can imagine. But I understand it's scary. You're being asked to walk through a dimension where you can't see what's on the other side. This is why I want you to know how safe you are, how prepared you are. You haven't just been preparing for this time during this lifetime. You have been preparing for this for many lifetimes. And the time has come finally for you to answer the call. Allow yourself to tap into the idea of going through and leaving the things behind that no longer serve you to allow for more beauty and bliss to come into your life than you can imagine. And in those moments when fear creeps in, sadness, anger, allow yourself to just take note. It's part of being human. But don't stay there. Find your way out of it so you can allow the initiation process to continue as you ride towards the solstice. The solstice is full of magical energy. It always is. But this solstice has been supercharged with a leap farther than you can imagine. Usually when you come to the solstice, it still requires a leap, but you can see the other side. You have an idea as to what's coming. You've gotten glimpses. And some of you are even getting glimpses this time. But I can tell you, you have no idea what the bridge or pathway looks like on the other side. You need to have blind faith in this one. You have to trust that your higher self knows what they're doing and knows how to ease you into this new way of being with the most ease. Follow the breadcrumbs. Allow yourself to listen to the call. If you hear the call, answer it. You may hear it multiple times. It doesn't mean you didn't answer it the first time. It's just that there's another message for you. Answer it and say, Source, I'm ready to hear or receive the next message. I'm ready to make the leap of faith. I'm ready to answer the call. And in that, this process will naturally unfold with grace as it was planned to do so. It's only when you resist this change that it becomes difficult. Remember, your higher self has been planning this, not just for this lifetime, but many lifetimes. You are prepared right now. You and your higher self have been living for this moment. Allow yourself to embrace it and don't let fear stop you. Okay, so that's the Metatron cards. Who knows? I may be called to do more of these. Not tonight, but in other things, we'll see. So yeah, they don't want me to use any of the other cards tonight. So Metatron is, he's saying he's going to be very active this month, that he's saying a large role to play in this integration process, which I'm not surprised. Okay, so I'm going to do something a little different. So I'm going to spray his spray. So this is Amanda's Metatron spray. As you can see, I'm a little low. And they just want you to close your eyes and breathe in his energy and allow yourself to be open to whatever message comes, whatever feeling comes, whatever smell you get. Sometimes Amanda will spray these on video and I can smell them here. So be open to that. I'm not going to tell you what this one smells like. I want you to see if you can smell it. A little practice and psychic senses, but he wants you to be able to feel his presence. He wants you to invite him in to help you through this dimensional gateway. So with this energy of the spray, we're going to invite him in. And all you have to do is say, yes, please, I accept your help, Metatron. And he will be with you every step of the way this month as you work towards this goal that your higher self has planned. Allow yourself to just take some deep breaths with your eyes closed. And imagine with your breath that you're pulling him into you. Allow yourself to welcome him in. You can't feel his presence. Know that he's still there. All you need to do is open your heart to him. And he will help guide you. In the language you best understand. Give him permission to help you just by saying yes in your heart space or in your mind. Even if you can't hear him or sense him, he can still hear you. Allow his energy to wrap around you in a warm embrace of love, support, and peace. Allow him to lift you up. Lift you up so you stand tall in who you are, who he knows you to be, who you are yet to become. Now, my friends, I ask that you deeply plant your feet on the ground. Allow yourself to feel the energy of Mother Earth beneath your feet. You know, by doing so, you're grounding in my presence with you, my warm embrace. In your struggles this month, call on me. I will help. I will bring you back to where you are right now to help you remember the feeling of what you are becoming, to encourage you to stand tall, to be courageous in this change you're going through. And know you're never alone. I'm always with you, even when you don't call on me. But also know that everyone around you is going through this in their own way. I'm here to help. And when you need me, I will be there. So how was that? Could anybody sense his presence? Anybody smell the spray? You guys allow yourself to. Awesome, Elaine. So that's cool. Awesome, Brenda. The sprays are, well, you guys have them. They're just magical. They are magic, for sure. Awesome, Eileen. That's interesting, Beth. So is your psychic senses, do you have the psychic sense of taste? Now, some people have that. For sure they do. I don't have that, but maybe you could taste the smell. I mean, the things that are in here, I don't know exactly what they are. I can guess by the smell. You may have been tasting the essence of what's in there. Yes. It definitely has cinnamon in it, which can have that bitey kind of energy. I'm not sure exactly what's in this spray. I know the cinnamon because it's heavily, actually, I don't know what it is. And it doesn't, actually it doesn't. It just says essential oils, which doesn't really help much, does it? It also has crystal essences in it. Again, I don't know which ones though. I love all this different smells, except for the dream one I have. It smells like soap to me, which isn't great, but sometimes I still use it. But I love them all. It's wonderful. It could be pepper. Okay. And, you can, on her website, she tells you which essential oils and which crystals and what angels or guides are involved in making the thing. But I recommend that you do not buy them based on the smells that you want. Instead, you muscle test which ones would help you the most. Awesome. Awesome, Elaine. So, well, smell and taste are the same. Like, they're not separate, right? They say that a good portion of our taste, taste is smell. So there just be maybe a new level of psychic sense. I think smell-o-vision and what I'll call taste-o-vision are probably tied. I mean, if you imagine something that your mother or grandmother made when you were a child that you loved, I can tell you that you could taste it in your mouth, and that's an essence of what I'll call taste-o-vision. So we're moving on to dragons, who are also very active. We have 3 dragons tonight. This is the card deck I've been shuffling. So they want me to spray another spray because it has dragon energy. So oh no, it never is the same way, right? They always come in the way that they, with Metatron, sometimes not sometimes, I take that back. He will help you explore different senses, different ways of being, different gifts as he introduces himself to you, because he's very much about your evolution. He's not about you staying the same. He's here to help you through this period. So if there are new senses that are coming online for you, he may be helping you test them out or be aware of them. Oh, these cards are great. Yay. They're all different. Although I think we've had one before. But they want me to spray this other spray. And the reason why is because it has a little bit of dragon energy in it. I'll have to get more if they want me to spray this, because again, I'm a little low on this. This is a fire element. So we're going to spray this. It's so low, it doesn't even want to come out of the freaking bottle. Although it shouldn't matter. I was going to open it. I heard that's it no more. Trying to fix the bottle. I heard stop, and then I heard not to stop. So weird. It's in the bottom of the bottle, but it won't spray. Well, whatever. There we go. Thank you, whoever decided to help me with that. Okay. So, yeah, I'm going to guess that essential oils don't taste good, and I just sprayed another one. So the first card is Harmony. I know we've seen this one before. I'm just going to channel these because they're obvious what they are for. Doesn't always the case. This is the Harmony Dragon. I can see him or her. It has a pile of plates in this hand, a pile of plates in this hand. His back leg has got a pile of plates. You're saying you're trying to do too much. And there's no harmony in that. This is the Harmony Dragon. You deserve to have harmony in your life. But you pay too much attention to trying to get other people to have harmony in their own life, and you take on their stuff in order to help them balance. You may be doing this consciously or subconsciously. And yes, it is a great thing to be kind and to help others, but it should never come at the expense of your own. I need you to put down some of those dishes. And as you know, I chose dishes on purpose. Is what happens when you drop one. Shatters into a million pieces. So not only are you holding all these plates, there's this fear that if you drop one, that everything will fall apart. And you won't be able to put it back together again. But I want you to know some of those plates aren't yours. They were never meant to be yours. You need to learn how to discern which plates are for your taking, for your helping. You're not supposed to help everyone. Everyone is assigned a helper. And that helper helps that person grow. Doesn't just take on their stuff and do the work for them. So what in your life have you taken on that isn't yours? Your desire to help has overridden your own sensibility, has stretched you too thin. It doesn't allow you to have balance and harmony in your own life. You deserve it. I want you to have it. I know it will happen once you find it. You will bloom, blossom, fly. You will fly as high as the sky, maybe even higher. But all those plates that you hold, for fear if they break, that everything will fall apart, prevents you from flying. Prevents you from lifting off. Prevents you from allowing yourself to embrace this beautiful becoming you're in. So I need for you to reflect on this, and you can call me in and I will help you see what dishes you hold that are preventing you from being able to have harmony in your own life. Don't you want that? Maybe you've never had it before, but it's still possible. Don't you want it to be possible? If you want it, and if you're open to understanding which of those plates aren't yours, then ask for me to come in and I will help you discern which of those plates are not for you. They're not for you to help, so you can make space to bring harmony into your own life. And here's some magic in this. Once you allow yourself to have harmony in your own life, you will manifest proof of it around you, potentially even in the lives of those that you're holding plates for now. Allow yourself to just feel into the energy of harmony, even if it feels like a pipe dream. I don't think it's a pipe dream for you. I believe it's possible. And it starts with you being honest with yourself on which plates you're carrying that aren't yours. Or have you paralyzed because you fear of dropping them and fear of things falling apart or the next shoe dropping. You're only limiting yourself by holding on to them. There's a new way coming for you. And I'm here to help you make space for it. And if you're willing, all you have to do is ask, and I will help. Okay. So I know a lot of you picked number 2. This is magic and manifestation. Now we've been talking a lot about magic tonight. These are twin dragons. They work together. So we're going to channel them in a minute. I have to get some of my own water. Again, if you're listening and you've been enjoying this, I ask that you like this. It helps me grow my audience. So be grateful for that. If you haven't already done so. I'm laughing. So they came in and they're both holding what looked like ancient scrolls. And one of the dragons lets the scroll like open up, and on it are all the wishes that you would like to manifest in your life. It's not a short list. And then the other dragon takes the scroll out and he rolls it out. And this one's longer than the other one. And this scroll is all your to-do list. Here we go. Your to-do list is overriding your ability to manifest what you desire into your own life. Many of your manifestations will come to you via magic. And in magic, there's nothing you have to do to get it. You just have to believe in it. But when you never take a moment to acknowledge the magic that has already manifested in your life, you snuff out some of the energy around your manifestation list. And this is where humans get in trouble. They make these wish lists miles long, and then they start to write a to-do list on how they're going to achieve their manifestations. It doesn't work like that. Sure, there is inspired action that you need to take. But in order to get the inspired action, you have to allow the initial spark of creativity, of imagination, of magic to take hold. For Source and your unseen friends to start to put it together. Gather the stardust, if you will. Allow your intention to bring it into your astral field. And then, if there are steps you need to take in order to manifest it into your life, they'll just come. These are those knowledge moments or an inspiration to do something you hadn't done before, or maybe double down on something that needs more energy. This is inspired action. You're allowing yourself to manipulate the energy of your manifestation or your wish into reality. In the Egyptian pantheon, there is a god who sits at a potter's wheel with clay, molding the human form that your higher self populates today. You have your own potter's wheel. And in this potter wheel, you are crafting your manifestation, molding it, grounding it into existence, seeing what needs to be adjusted, tweaked, what other steps need to be taken in order to build out this manifestation. You can't skip this step. If you do, you will only find yourself frustrated, wondering where the hell your manifestation came or went. You did all the steps. You say your gratitude. You feel like you've done everything and it should just be there. Where the hell is it? And it's because you forgot this step. If you need to imagine yourself doing this, it may help. It will allow yourself to see that you are very much part of the manifestation and magical process of co-creation. You sit in front of that potter's wheel, a lump of clay. In your mind's eye and creativity, you make a wish. You take the clay, you start to run it over the potter's wheel, morphing it, molding it. And at first, it's just a lump of clay. It doesn't look like anything. It's just the spark and the stardust of possibilities. And as you morph it into existence, it becomes clearer and clearer how or what you need to do in order to move it forward. As you sit at this potter's wheel, your higher self and guides sit with you, encouraging you to make changes, to make it better than even you can imagine. Ask that if you make these tweaks, if you'd like their help. You don't sit at this potter wheel by yourself. They're all there with you. But you must take the action of actually putting your energy into this creation. Manifestation does not happen in a void. You don't just put your order in and the waitress goes away and returns with your food. In this higher dimensions, you are also the chef. You have a lot of assistant chefs and line cooks that would be angels, gods, and goddesses, and even ancestors that are helping you craft your masterpiece. You must believe in the creations you're asking for. You don't believe in them, they won't come. It's like using a potter's wheel and not using enough water or enough clay so that the foundation isn't enough to hold it and eventually cracks or dries up and you have to start over. It helps you to imagine your wishes on a potter's wheel and imagine all of your angels and guides sitting around you helping you. Then do so. And know that all of your wishes are on this potter's wheel all together. It's part of the mixing potion, if you will, that goes into this potter's clay through your hands. Through the love and the peace and joy and bliss that you wish to experience when it comes. So as you pour yourself over this potter's wheel, imbue it with love, joy, bliss, excitement, awe, and wonder. And in that, you strengthen the magic around it. And it can come in ways you cannot imagine. So believe in this. You have the power within you to do this right now. It's innate in you, just like walking. It's only when you take yourself out of the co-creation process do you find bumps. And anytime you find yourself struggling in this, come back to the potter's wheel. Focus your energy on what you're creating. Think about the life that you're creating. And allow the feelings of what it would be like to have that, to light up the creation that you're building on your own potter's wheel. You're welcome, Lori. I know this one's going later than I wanted to, but it's okay. Everything's the way it's supposed to be. The last one is peace. So some people picked peace. So Beth, you chose both, and Elaine. Okay. He's with the whole namaste thing. He just bowed to you all. He's saying, you wish to see peace in the world, but the peace starts with you. There's a saying that says, be the change you want to see in the world. And tonight I'm changing it to be the peace that you want to see in the world. When you allow yourself to center yourself on peace, you will manifest peace in the world outside of you. Will first start in those that surround you every day. And then it will spread to other family members, friends, and eventually the collective. You are the rock of peace. When you set your intention on peace and allow yourself to have peace within you, ripples go out in all directions, sending out ripples of peace, allowing others to settle, to allow other people feel safe for them to stop for a moment and maybe let a glimmer of peace into their lives. And know that glimmer of peace is a seed. If they can have it once, they can have it again. And that peace will grow over time. I need you to ground the energy of peace in. So not only am I asking you to be the rock of peace, I need you to ground the energy of peace into Mother Earth so she can feel the energy of peace as she works through releasing tens of thousands of years of turmoil and strife from her cellular DNA. As you hold peace, you remind her of what she's working towards. Sometimes it's hard for her. Everything that's happening on Earth now and what has happened in the past, sometimes it's a lot. By allowing yourself to take the time to send peace to Mother Earth, remember, she remembers what she's working towards, and she knows that you love her. As you wrap her in the energy of peace. And with that, she herself can start to manifest peace on her land. She hasn't seen peace on her land in so many years. Just like many of you maybe can't imagine world peace, she can't imagine sometimes either. She hasn't lost hope. But by you taking the time to send her peace, she knows that she's already manifesting it. You're her channel to her becoming peace. But to really be able to anchor this in and be the lightning rod of peace, you have to allow yourself to have peace, no matter your circumstances. And with peace, your own circumstances will change for the better. So if you chose this card, know that you're a peace antenna, if you will. Allow yourself to stand tall in that peace antenna and imagine yourself radiating it out to all corners of Earth and every sentinel being or energy that lives on her or within her. So easy to do so much. Ground in peace. Yep. Okay, so thank you all for watching. This was longer than I wanted to be, but it's always what it wants to be, right? Like I don't have a choice in this. I hope to have a podcast out this weekend. I know I have a YouTube video coming with the reflection of the sacred pool, hopefully this weekend. I'll post them in the group. I haven't been great about doing that. Excuse me. But I'm trying to be better. So thank you all again for listening, for coming, and I will see you all next week, if not sooner for some of you. Have a great night and great weekend.